Hi everyone, this is Jackie M and apparently I am now on live. This is my first ever attempt at running a Periscope. Guys, what I'm doing as my introduction to Periscope is I'm going to run a 30 days and 30 different Asian ingredients. My main motivation for doing this is essentially because I do a lot of recipes, I do a lot of cooking videos and that sort of stuff, and it seems to be universally across the board the fact that people struggle with the kind of ingredients that I used in my cooking. Okay, I've had people express extreme frustration, like I have no idea what it is you're using and what it is you're cooking with and that sort of stuff. So I thought, why not, for the first time ever, comprehensively cover all these different Asian ingredients that I use as a matter of course in my cooking, so that everyone can be on the same page even when they finally finish this series of 30 days of Asian ingredients. And today, and I know I say 30 days, 30 Asian ingredients, but invariably I am probably going to cover different groups of ingredients, and that's what I'm going to do today. So today I thought let's start with soya sauce. But even I, as someone who grew up using soya sauce in a lot of my cooking, struggle with the kind of sauces that are the different varieties of soya sauce. And I always tell people, when you're dealing with Asian cooking and Asian ingredients, that fundamentally you have to keep in mind that different brands of the same labeled sauces will taste a little bit different, so they have their own kind of nuances attached to them. Growing up in Malaysia, I remember the soya sauce that we used to get with our street food and that sort of stuff tended to be quite mild, like quite diluted. They're almost like a light yellow or brown color, and they taste a little bit sweet. When I came to Australia and started to cook and that sort of stuff, I found the soya sauces that we could get at the shops here to be really quite strongly flavored, and that's got me to kind of explore a lot of different brands. So I've got a few here with me, and not all of this is soya sauce. Okay, this was introduced to me quite recently. The brand is Amoy, and it's light soya sauce, and this is actually now my favorite. This is very mild. This has just the right note to it that I really like. Okay, another brand that's very popular in Malaysia, I think the Malaysians would be familiar with this. This is called Habal, and I'm just gonna tip a little bit out so you can see what it's like. Okay, so it's a little bit thicker and much darker than the other one. Okay, so this is Habal, and if you compare it, both of them are soya sauce, and the one on my left hand is the Amoy brand light soya sauce, much lighter, and Habal also soya sauce, a lot thicker as well. Here you go, and it tastes quite a bit saltier and stronger flavor. One is just a, what brand is it? This is just a Coles. Okay, Coles in Australia is just your regular supermarket, and they've got their own home brand, and this looks like it's somewhere in between. Okay, so this is the Coles soya sauce. You can see tastes completely different again. This particular brand is kind of basically because it's a home brand soya sauce. It tastes more outright salty. It doesn't have any nuance to it at all. It almost tastes to me like just like salted water that's been colored a dark color. Okay, now that I've got the soya sauces out of the way, there are a couple of other things that I want to point out. Okay, this is also Habal, and it's sweet soya sauce. Okay, they call it soya bean sauce sometimes, so just always expect some variations in the naming. There's not necessarily a standardized naming convention when it comes to Asian sauces and Asian food in general. Okay, so this is labeled sweet soya bean sauce, which in Malay is actually kicap manis. Okay, so sweet soya sauce. Kicap manis generally is quite a bit thicker. Essentially, it's like soya sauce, not so salty, and also thick, and it almost sticks to your finger. Taste wise, this tastes quite sweet and salty as well. So What I would use this for, again, I would add sliced bird's eye chili with the sweet soy sauce and use it as a dip for fruit. Now, this one is what I really want to get into because a lot of people don't know what this is, okay? This, if you want to have a good look at it, the brand is Cheongchan, C-H-E-O-N-G, C-H-A-N, Cheongchan. All the Asians, most Asians should know what this is. This is what I grew up calling, in Hakka anyway, usiu, which means literally black soya sauce. Nowadays, this particular brand is what I would have in English referred to it as thick soya sauce. But on this brand now is called thick caramel sauce. Okay, so you can see how confusing it is. This is kind of like, if you can imagine kicap manis, which is the sweet soya sauce, but much thicker and less sweet. Okay, I'm just pouring it out. You can see what it looks like here. Okay, and in fact, it's so thick that it's quite frustrating to get all of it out of the bottle. If you're trying to get a full bottle, like I sometimes would need to for my cooking, it's hard to get an entire bottle of it. So usually at the end of the bottle, you stick some water in and give it a good shake to tip out the rest so you can get the rest of it out. And this is what thick soya sauce looks like. Just to show you what it looks like, that's the consistency. Okay, so, and in terms of flavor, it's quite strong flavored, but it's not outright sweet the way kicap manis is, and it's not outright salty the way soya sauce is. So usually you would use this in conjunction with regular soya sauce. Okay, so this thick soya sauce. This is kicap manis. And see the difference? This is the light soya sauce on my right over here. That's the Amoy brand. And this is kicap manis, okay, which is the sweet soya sauce. A little bit thicker and a lot sweeter. And they all have a hint of saltiness to them, okay? And this is the thick caramel sauce, which is extremely treacly. And like I said, another thing I get confused about this, and I'm sure some of the Malaysians and Asians out there sometimes get confused as well, because there's no standardization in the naming of like these sauces. What I grew up knowing this, as I mentioned before, is what in Chinese we call black soya sauce, okay? Nowadays, well, black, I guess you can translate it as dark soya sauce. So for the longest time when I was writing recipes, I would refer to this ingredient as dark soya sauce. Nowadays, if you look on the shelves at Asian supermarkets, you might see dark soya sauce that is in fact more like the habao regular soya sauce, but darker, because I showed it to you before. Different soya sauces are different in their saltiness, in their color, in their hue, and that sort of stuff. Okay, so this is the Amoy, which is very light, and this is habao, which is their salty soya sauce, what they refer to on their label as salty soybean sauce. Same thing. If I've confused everyone already, then thank you. So. Like I said, I personally get confused as well. I've gone through some cookbooks where they actually ask for dark soya sauce that in fact do not refer to this, okay? But when I write my recipes and I refer to it as dark soya sauce, this is what I mean. Essentially, the idea is light soya sauce, aka regular soya sauce, aka whatever else they want to call it, is one type of soya sauce. It essentially provides saltiness to your dish, and then sweet soya sauce provides sweetness, which is used in a lot of Indonesian cooking, not so much in most Malaysian dishes that I am aware of. And then you've got the thick caramel sauce, which again is used quite specifically for certain dishes. But there you have it. I think I've talked more than enough. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this session. And by all means, please hit me up if you've got any questions at all as far as Asian ingredients. And if there's anything, any particular ingredient you want me to cover, let me know. And I'll catch you next time.